Some of your top clients ended up being the business owners because, to your point, it's not just about the money. It's about, are they following our advice? Do we like working with them? All the things that we might do when looking at our client books.
100%.
And those turned out to be business owners too.
They were 100% business owners.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Exit Is Now podcast with me, your host, Scott Snider, back for another great episode. Really excited. You guys might have, for our certified exit planning advisors that follow our Exit Is Now show, you might know Neil from a case study that we did. He really had an impact when I talked to him, and he told his SEPA story. But he is in business with his father. He serves business owners. And I want to talk to him about kind of both journeys. So, Neil, thank you for coming all the way into Cleveland, and welcome to the show officially, my friend.
Scott, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
So one of the things, I was talking with you pre-show, one of the things that in my research, right, so when I have guests on, I'm trying to look for other cool stuff that we can kind of talk about. And I always love having athletes on the show. Because I'm an athlete still. I quite literally have a game like tonight at 7 against
great.
The best team, and we're like a middle of the pack team. I'm nursing like a dislocated pinky, and my kids are saying like, "What are you doing, Dad?" I'm the oldest guy on the team.
I love it.
But one of the fun facts about Neil that you might not know is that he trained with like the Olympic rowing team. So talk to me about that, and then we'll kind of transition into how that might affect your leadership style.
Sure. Yeah. So my background is I rowed in high school, college, and then I rowed after school for a number of years too. So I rowed at University of Pennsylvania. And then I rowed with the national team for a while, which is basically the Olympic team.
Yeah.
My cycle was for the 2012 Olympics in London. So I rowed with them in Princeton and Chula Vista, which is out in California, at the Olympic Training Center. That was a lot of fun. And then I hurt my back, unfortunately. So I had an injury, didn't make the 2012 team. But rehabbed and then started a club rowing. So I rowed for a team called UBC, and we went to London twice.
Cool.
So we went to there's a race in there in London called Henley, and we went there twice and competed there.
What a wild experience, right?
So cool.
Did you get to do any international travel when you were in college, or do you do all that in the United States? And was that your? I guess what I'm saying is that your first trip internationally to row competitively?
Good question. No, so I was on the U19 team, which is basically a junior national team, and we won gold in Brandenburg, Germany. So we would travel to Brandenburg, which is outside of Berlin, and that was fun. So that was a great.
You still have the medals?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's like it's fun. It's like they say like champion of the world in French. It's a French. So cool. It's kind of neat. But the best moment, and honestly, is like when they raise the American flag. And you have the national anthem internationally.
Isn't that wild?
You get chills.
Dude, I'm getting chills now. I think
it's
super cool, man. So yeah, I had the opportunity. I'm a big soccer player, right? And I had the opportunity to travel internationally for Team USA. But it's just like these Olympic development teams are in soccer, at least, are broken down like per region.
Yeah.
And so the Midwest region went to Europe to play for like 6 weeks. I was over there, and we played in the Youth World Cup. So awesome. I was probably like 16 or 17 when I went to do this. But out of the 4 or 5 regions that we had, my coach was picked to be the head coach and representative of the United States. So that meant we get to go do the ceremony and everything. And they were playing the national anthem while we walked under the stage. So the stage is above us, and they're announcing Team USA. And we walk out in like the mist, and there's a soccer arena full of 90,000 people, and we're just carrying American flags. It's like chilling.
How old were you at that point?
I was probably like 16 or 17.
I mean, how much did that shape your
I mean, that's
life?
right. That's the same thing that I wanted to talk to you about, right? When I meet athletes of like your caliber, that training schedule, that mentality, that discipline has to have an effect on your leadership style. So for me, I was pretty young, but I think in those days of my life, like it taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me follow through. It taught me thoroughness, a lot of respect. And I think the thing I learned when I traveled Europe, like I had a little player's card, like there's a bunch of people that you represent, even though you're not like a direct representative of the people from Ohio where I'm from.
For sure.
They're looking at me and saying like, that guy's from Ohio where I'm from. So like if you yell at one of the referees or you drop a swear word, you're like, man, there's a little kid.
Did you feel that when you were playing?
We played in another cup called the De La Caria Cup, and it's the second largest youth tournament in the world. And we ended up going to the finals. We lost, but we were going to the finals.
Yeah.
I was a backup goalie, so I didn't actually play all that much when I was over there. I would train ridiculous, like 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
I shit you not, 10 hours a day to never make a game.
Oh, my gosh.
But our starting goalie in the De La Caria Cup semifinals got hurt, so I got to play the championship game.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was wild because they had seating right behind your goal, and in Europe, everybody loves soccer. What I didn't realize going over there is how much they like all soccer. So even a bunch of 16, 17, and 18-year-olds, it was the second largest tournament in the world, so it attracts great players from around the world. People came. There's like 25,000 people at my game.
Oh, it's incredible, Scott.
But they could go behind the goal, and I'm like, you can hear them chanting and stuff. It's super intimidating. And there's times where like I thought the ref made a crappy call, and if I was back home in Cleveland, Ohio, playing in the league, I might have said something, right? Not anything wildly disrespectful, but I might have had a conversation.
Sure.
Or I might have like missed the goal, right? Because I'm a goalie, right? So if I miss something, it's pretty much going to the goal.
Yeah.
And you're not scoring a lot of goals in soccer, right? So it's like every shot kind of counts. And you'd get up and you'd like want to drop an F-bomb, and then you're kind of like, oh, that kid's like 10 right there, and he's like waving a little American flag.
Sure.
And then I'm going to start dropping F-bombs, and he's going to be like, hey, Mom, what's that? And I'm an American, so they're like, I'm over there. It's a bunch of Swedish people and Danish people, right? And that were De La Caria Cups in Denmark.
Oh, that's amazing.
And yeah, I was like, I already think we get a kind of a bad rep sometimes internationally.
For sure.
Now I'm going to be the Midwest Ohio guy dropping F-bombs on the field to referees. I was like, I totally, that kind of stuff was totally going through my mind. But how did it shape yours? So why I brought up your story and as we kicked off here, because I just always think when I meet athletes like you that got to compete and train at that high of level, like, did you take any of that into your business to date? Has it shaped your leadership style?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, you said it pretty well, Scott. I mean, we've had very similar experiences in terms of international experience and competing at a high level. I mean, think about like the best times you've ever had in sports is when you had like a very good team. Yeah. And like it comes down to the team. And like you think about it, so what we try to focus on, and I would love to continue to make a focus in our business, is creating just a Olympic style team, right? Or a national team. Yeah. Like think about like the very best team you've ever been, the elite team. Yeah. And when you have an elite team, there's a feeling, there's a connectiveness, there's a drive, there's just a different mentality and energy when you're at that level. Yeah. And that was the most fun because work isn't work at that level. You know, it's all just doing what I got to do, and you're getting it done, and you're enjoying every process.
And you're having some fun doing it too, right? And you're winning, and you're winning.
Exactly.
For the most part, right?
For the most part, right. But I mean, if you had to put an extra workout in, it's no big deal. If it's anything you got to do, I mean, your teammates are with you. So I think the team aspect is the biggest takeaway that you can apply to business. Sure. And it's the same thing with like SEPA and working with business owners too. Exactly. I mean, all those business owners need a team, and putting the right team around those people and motivating them. I mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway for me.
I think it's funny that you mentioned that too, because when you think about, there are a lot of very competitive certified exit planning advisors, and there's a lot of like highly like elite athletes as well. And maybe one of the reasons they're attracted to the work that we do as SEPAs is that team mentality, right? Because it's one of the best in class features. It's how do I structure a collaborative team of advisors around me that I can bring in and help the owner, and then surround the owner with that team too. Yes, sir. But that is true.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's true.
No, the collaborative approach is makes a difference. I mean, also it's the most fun. You know, it's fun. I mean, it's fun to work with people and win. Yeah. You know, I mean, so, and that was probably my biggest takeaway. Cool. Well, it was a good time.
So, so let's transition then into your business, right? So when you graduated, did you just come into your dad's firm at first and start working with dad right away? Or was there a period of, I'm going to go do my own thing and then team up with dad? Yeah,
good question. So I graduated in 2009, and then I rowed for the National Olympic team for 2 years.
And that was your primary thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, okay.
Which is, and again, another lesson is like, it's a fun experience to be solely focused on one objective.
I know, man. See, I never had that. So not to jump around for our audience, but when I went to play professional indoor soccer, right? So I played in the major arena soccer league, so kind of like arena football.
Yeah.
It wasn't your primary focus because you just didn't get paid enough.
Yeah.
Right. So it was after I sold my company. I wandered for a little bit. One of the things I wandered doing was, I'll just try out for this professional team and see where it goes. And
That's awesome.
I was working till like 3:00 inside of my dad's consulting firm and then leaving 3 times a week to go down like 40 minutes from where I live today to go to a training session for 3 hours. And then every other weekend you were on the road, Friday through Sunday, traveling in the league, playing different games. But I always thought it was cool when you just said that. It popped for me is that's what you did for 2 years. Like you were an athlete. You're a professional athlete. You have surrounding all the tools and resources that you need to make it happen. You have it.
Yeah.
That sole objective is cool. I didn't have that necessarily experience. That's super cool.
And it was a short period of time. I mean,
It was,
a lot of other guys who did a couple Olympic cycles, they did it for a while. And, and the big takeaway too is the compounding effect of all of that. It takes a long time to get really good and it's incremental, but like every day of being able to focus on something that intensely, you do get better over a longer period of time.
Exactly right. So you do that, and what do you do after that, after those 2 years?
Yeah, so those 2 years, then I come back in my dad's business. I actually did what you did too, and I continued rowing and worked with him. So I was a little part-time in the business, part-time still rowing. I was kind of back and forth. I was playing around with like another Olympic cycle for a while, and then really like the bug got me to work with my dad in probably 2015 or so. Okay. So we finished. I had rowed twice in London, and I was pretty much done after that. I was like, you know what, I got to go all in on the business. So started working with him probably 2015, 16 in earnest, and the focus at that time was prospecting. Okay. So we did. I had a team of people, and we did about 70 seminars. For retirees. Yeah,
I saw you do like a webinar on this actually, like the use of prospecting through your educational sessions.
Yes. Yeah. So that worked out really well. And then so that was a good process for us. And we met a lot of great people. And then I know we'll talk about this later, but we had this loss, in terms of we had a great business sale opportunity and we lost it. Yeah. And I kind of had us back on our heels where we had to readjust everything. So we changed our tactics completely, and that's where kind of the SEPA came in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what your focus is now, right? Your focus is primarily prospecting for business owners and deepening those relationships in your business today.
That's right. Yeah. So when we talk to somebody, we are pre-sale business owner advisors.
Yeah. See, we're going to expand on that because I think that you heard me at the top of the show talk about when I had a chance to meet him, like not just have him come through class, but actually spend some time, the way that you've looked at your approach with owners is, I think, unique. I think that if there is a showcase of a SEPA doing it right, you're certainly down that path. But I have to ask you as a family business owner first, just a couple of things about working with dad, because I've been working with my dad since 2012. So almost similar time frames, right? You're probably, if you started in like 2015 with your dad, you guys are on like your 10th anniversary.
Yeah, we are.
Of being in business together.
Full time, yeah.
So are you, what's it like? I mean, how has it changed your relationship at all with your dad, and how do you blend and balance that?
It's been interesting. I mean, I would say that it's been very rewarding. Right. I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing with you, Scott, with your dad. I mean, it's like you wouldn't change a thing. I mean, to be able to work with your mentor and the person you look up to, like
exactly,
there's nothing better. But the lines do blur between the family and the business, right? Of course. You're sitting in the office, you're talking about personal stuff, and then you're talking about stocks, and then you're talking about the business all in one same conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So that can be a challenge, but the benefits greatly outweigh any negatives. Being able to talk to someone, and the biggest thing is trust. Like you trust your family, you trust your father.
Yeah, for the most part, you do, right? Like, exactly. If you have a good family unit, and I think that's one of the reasons that Dad and I were attracted to doing business with each other. Like, I think it's hard to find a good business partner,
for sure,
right? And my dad, I think, had been through some poor business partnerships, right? And I think that was one of the things when I sold my company, Dad said why don't you just come into Aspire Management and do prospecting, do business development?
Is that what he said?
Yeah. He said, you're kind of a growth guy, you're a sales guy, you're a relationship guy, and me and at the time his business partner Andy were like in the weeds. They're the consultant, right? They know how to fix your business, so they're doing a little sales work, but there's only so much sales work they can do because they have a bunch of clients they got to take care of.
Yeah, exactly.
So they said one of the things that we're lacking is like a full-time growth guy. So so I like brought in a marketing company and actually gave them like a good website and like that kind of stuff where we can go out and actually showcase the brand, and then I can have something to sell other than, well, my dad Chris is really good at what he does, right?
Right.
It was more like, here's the brand that is Aspire Management.
So true.
And we built out a website, and I was having like coffee meetings on top of coffee meetings on top of happy hours, just telling Dad's story and Aspire Management story. But that's how I first got in.
Is that how you started?
It was prospecting inside of Aspire Management.
That's awesome.
And that was your role at first? Dad said, "Look, come in and help grow."
Yeah. Well, I was working I was kind of part time from 2010 to 2015, and I was doing a lot of financial planning, investment management. But really, he sat me down and was like, "Listen," and it's the same thing. You can either, and this is very related to SEPAs, is that you can either take over the existing business or you can find another path for growth. And he sat me down and was like, listen, you can take over what I have,
right?
But if you don't know how to prospect and bring an account in, eventually the business is going to die.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to figure out how to grow on your own. So he basically just like kicked me out the door in a way and was like, go do a bunch of seminars, go figure it out, and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm totally with it, dude.
Right? And it sounds like the same thing with you, Scott. I mean, it's like
100%.
And I'm glad he did that because the alternative is, you're kind of sitting back a little bit too much, and you're not growing. I think it has helped me with that growth mentality.
Of course.
Of trying to do the prospecting first.
It sounds like your dad allowed you to be pretty independent, which I think was important. That's something that I share with my dad. My dad said, like, not here's the reins, right? Like he's still captaining the ship, but like, go. Like, tell me what resources, budget, tools, like what do you need?
Yeah.
And go out and go. Do you have a similar relationship with your dad? Like when he kind of kicked you out and said, look, you could manage this book or you could start your own.
It's similar for sure. I mean, there was a point where we were kind of striking out on seminars and he was like, listen, like stick with it, but you got to start producing. And, I've been very fortunate that way. And I actually think our dads align. My dad is like a traditional stockbroker. Like he loves stocks. Like same way your dad's an academic.
Right.
Your dad
is
very
process, methodical, like Price Waterhouse kind of consultant.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You got it. 100%. I like Price Waterhouse. It's like, and it sounds like your dad's a similar way.
So did you rock your dad's world a little bit with like a new and more progressive style?
I don't know about rock, but I got a lot of pushback when I wanted to rock the boat. So that is one. So one negative I would say is that we are like opposing forces sometimes. Yeah, like when he's stuck.
Same thing.
Right, and I think that's natural with family businesses. I had a bunch of ideas coming in and how I wanted to do things, and he's like, nope, like we gotta go slow. It's methodical. We gotta test it. Like, and I'm like, no, this is just let's just go. Let's just run. Let's just try it. Let's just go with it, right? And so that does cause some friction.
It does, absolutely.
But I don't know if it wasn't my father, I don't know if I would push that hard. That's the other thing.
I mean, which is interesting. I mean, that's just a good thought too, because I think we do that at EPI a lot because I don't have any family in the business other than Dad, but I have like a very close leadership team that we definitely treat each other differently, me to them and them to me, because we're almost like brothers and sisters.
That's
so
good.
That is a good point, that there's a level of push that you can have because it's father-son, for sure.
And that push is important.
I think it is. I think it could be a different maker in like high growth companies, or growth. And what I want to talk to you about in the second half of the show is like new markets, new personas, and really leaning hard into I think a segment that for all of us as SEPAs and professional advisors is going to do well for all of our business, for sure.
Yeah, makes total sense.
So I got to take a quick break. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and I want to talk about that pivot, if you will, that you kind of brought to the business with your certified exit planning advisor training. So we will be right back after this.
Cornerstone Business Services are M&A advisors, bringing a highly successful, high-touch level of service of investment banking to the lower middle market. At Cornerstone, we don't just make deals. We craft personalized solutions with an expert team that has decades of experience in buy-side, sell-side valuation services. We understand the deeply emotional process of selling a founder or family-owned business, with first-time sellers who are likely embarking on what will become the largest financial transaction of their life. We're more than just investment bankers. Cornerstone is a trusted partner in helping business owners begin their next chapter. You only get one chance to sell your business. Cornerstone can help you finish strong.
Are you a business owner seeking to unlock the true potential of your enterprise? Look no further than the second edition of Christopher Snider's revolutionary book, Walking to Destiny: 11 Actions an Owner Must Take to Rapidly Grow Value and Unlock Wealth. In this updated edition, Snider presents proven strategies for maximizing your company's value and accelerating growth. Whether you're aiming to sell or simply want to ensure long-term success, this book offers a blueprint for building a thriving, self-sustaining business. Walking to Destiny isn't just another book, it's a game changer, backed by Snider's own experience as a successful business owner and as a CPA. This book bridges the gap between business owners and advisors, guiding you towards financial freedom. But don't just take our word for it. Hear from those whose lives have been transformed by its insights. One satisfied reader raves, "The best guide for transitioning out of privately owned companies. I recommend it to all business owners and advisors." Another praises it on its focus for maximizing business value, calling it their, quote, principal tool for educating owners. Ready to take control of your business's destiny? Visit walkingtodestiny.com now and use code EXITISNOW to claim your free copy of Walking to Destiny: 11 Actions an Owner Must Take to Rapidly Grow Value and Unlock Wealth. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Make the moment perfect by seizing this opportunity today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Exit Is Now podcast, hanging out, having a conversation with Neil. So we were talking before the break about his own business, his own firm. I want to pivot the conversation to talk a little bit about now how he's serving and working with business owners primarily in that company as a certified exit planning advisor. So I'd like to go down that path.
Yeah, Scott, if it's okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I'm looking at the sign, the landscaping sign right here, which is great.
Yeah.
M&S Connection Landscaping. But it's amazing. I was listening to Justin Goodbread at the conference.
Sure.
He has a landscaping background. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, Justin Goodbread. One of the reasons I think me and Justin Goodbread kind of really worked together is that his first company was a landscaping company, and that was mine. Like I threw a lawnmower in the back, kind of like we were talking about athletics before the break. I would tried to apply to a bunch of jobs, like burger flipper at McDonald's, grocery bag packer at Walmart, and I would have all these you're like 14 or 15, 16 years old. And I was like, well, I can only work these days and not those. And then my schedule always changes because I was traveling around the Midwest playing soccer.
Right.
And they're like, dude, we can't hire you. You're totally unpredictable.
Right.
And so I said, Dad said, you got to get a job, dude. And so I said, well, shoot, I have a lawnmower. My friend has a Ford Taurus sedan.
Is that how it started?
And and I was like, the M&S connection is my buddy Mikey. And I said, Mikey, why don't you ask your dad if you could use his car on the weekends? And I'll ask my dad if I could use the mower and some of the other tools that are in the garage. That's awesome. And we'll cut residential lawns for $20. And Mikey was like, dude, yeah. He was filling ice cream cones at Dairy Queen,
Really?
Yeah, he was like, that sounds way better than this.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, man. And then Mike ended up leaving the company to pursue a college, a college degree and went off to venture into healthcare. And I kept the business. And so... But yeah. So, anyways, Justin did the same thing.
He did the same thing.
Is my point. Yeah.
And I bring it up too because I have we have a number of clients who have this similar background, and I'm not sure what it is with landscaping, but I have but these guys, people started out in landscaping businesses, and then they put it into real estate empires, or they took another turn in a different direction. Yeah. But there's got to be something with landscaping.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we were laughing about this. I think that my first gut reaction is it's kind of like the easy business to get into, right? Okay. Especially if you're from the Midwest. I feel like I bump into a lot of people when I tell my landscaping story. It's like, hey, I did that too. And but if you think about it, and obviously if you went to college, you go on any college course and they teach you Business 101, it's the worst business to get into. There's no barriers to entry, right? You just quite literally at 16 years old, I could bungee cord a trunk down, and we literally papered a neighborhood of flyers, and we said we banked on We went to both the private school, so like 2 private school kids from predominant private school community schools here in Northeast Ohio, looking to make some money and we said we wanted to be year round. So we'll do your mulch in the spring, we'll do your grass, we'll do your fall cleanup.
Oh, so it's more than just cutting grass,
right? And so so we'll do like your fall cleanup, and then in the wintertime we couldn't plow snow because we were going to school, but we could paint houses.
Oh wow!
So if you didn't need like your basement painted, you can keep us around and we'll do like a basement paint or an office bedroom paint, right? So
that's awesome.
And people kind of bought into that, but at 16 we were like kicking out grown dudes who are like have a company, like that's like Creative Lawn Care,
right?
And I remember the dude from Creative Lawn Care stopped one time, not in like a bad way, which is he's like, I just needed to see who you guys were. I've been cutting that lady's yard for 10 years, man. He's like, came in and see some kids. Now we undercut them on price a lot, right? Because we didn't have a lot of overhead.
You're the landscaper disruptor.
Yeah, well, I guess so, man. Yeah, and some people were pissed. Some people were like, dude.
It makes sense.
Like, I've been cutting that grass for $42. You come in at $20. Like, and that's what I learned too, though.
Yeah.
Like, wildly undercharging for the product. But
interesting.
I think
in a good way in a good way or a bad way? Like getting business by wildly undercharging?
Yeah, I think they said, look, these are 2 young kids, seem respectable kids, and they're charging half the price, so let's hire them. You know, and then I quickly realized, and we brought our prices back up, but it was by that time I could do it in the 2nd or 3rd season because they saw our work ethic, right? So they're like, and they would say, there was a couple instances where people were saying like, dude, you're not charging enough. Here's $35 instead of $20.
Oh, they did that?
Yeah. And so, anyways, I think, in part, maybe the answer to your question, right? I see a lot of guys that have started landscape companies and then have become wealthy individuals.
They have, yeah.
One, I think it's just like my dad always used to say like that was my college. Because remember, I went to like 2 years of college and dropped out and then just ran that company. But like I learned a hell of a lot from 16 to 19, those 3 years, and how to run a company.
Oh, sure.
Because by the time I was 19, we probably had a dozen employees. Yeah. I was the youngest guy in the company, employing like a dozen different people, and we were working in like what we would call high image oriented properties. So we had some big time clientele. And so I think it's an easy business to start and get into and teach yourself. And then, you have like real estate plays in there. Like we owned a shop that our trucks would go into. But maybe it's just a good playground to like learn how to have a business. But you also have like built-in clientele all over the place, right?
Right.
Like,
good point.
Everybody needs their grass cut. Here in the Midwest, everybody needs their snow plowed.
Right.
There's a lot of liability in snow and ice management, right? So if you're a grocery store, like you're going to have people going grocery shopping, somebody slips and falls, like you better have that thing salted and taken care of.
100%.
And I think that in the commercial space, there's a big play. So there's some pretty big ass landscaping companies out there, right?
Oh, for sure.
Probably sell for, top dollar. So anyways, I think that's the play.
It's
in the landscaping world, though. I don't know. Yeah,
it's gritty too, though. I mean, the work ethic side. I mean, you guys are you're working hard. It probably gave you some good work ethic as well.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it from the athletic standpoint, right? It was like a workout every day, right?
Yeah.
You're laying mulch, or you're walking like thousands of linear feet with a backpack blower on, blowing off sidewalks and neighborhoods.
It's awesome.
So, but it was a good workout. But anyways, I want to talk a little bit about you becoming a SEPA. You have a really cool and fascinating SEPA story. Can you tell it for our listeners?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can give you the big picture for sure.
Yeah, give me the big picture.
So a little bit about, if it's okay to go all the way back to the start. My dad started the business back in 1981, and he kind of started with retirees. And actually, he started in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and people were coming in with like cash. And so it's a far cry away now from where it was before.
Yeah.
But so we became really a retiree-focused, financial planning-focused firm.
Okay.
And we had a longtime client sell a business, and it was for a lot of money. I mean, kind of like a game-changing, once-in-a-lifetime amount of money. And we really thought we were in first position right from the start. We had a good relationship with them, 20 years worth of experience with the client, helped them really build the company from scratch. And when the time came, we didn't get any of the sale. We got zero. And so we retained the existing assets, but zero of the sale.
Right.
So we took a step back. I was like, where did this money go? And part of it landed with SEPA. And we go, what is what is this? And why did
I
we?
always think this part of the story, you're just like, SEPA, what in the world?
It's what it was. Yeah, 100%. We said, what in the world? And then literally we had a conversation with the client, and it was like, well, they were talking about things that no one else was talking about. And a light bulb went off in our head. And we're like, man, never again. Like,
Right.
we can never again be in that situation. So we have 6 advisors on our team now, and 4 of them have the CEPAs.
And they're pretty much business owner focused?
Business owner focused. So, and then the second thing that we did is we looked across our existing book of business and we tried to rank our top clients, not only from just assets, but from, from basically ease to work with and if do they follow our advice and things like that. And the top people were business owners. And like, why are we not focused on this demographic?
So some of your top clients ended up being the business owners, because to your point, it's not just about the money. It's about, are they following our advice? Do we like working with them? All the things that we might do when looking at our client books.
100%.
And those turned out to be business owners too.
They were 100% business owners. So the best clients, not only from a financial point of view, but also from like a personal and listening to our advice point of view, were all business owners.
And why do you think that is? Is there something special about the firm? Was it your competitive mentality? How did those bubble to the top, do you think?
The business owners?
Yeah, the business owners.
That's a good question. I think my dad's always had a bit of a business owner mindset.
Oh, he's a business owner in his own right? I mean,
Exactly.
He owns a firm, right?
Yeah, he owns a firm. So he's always spoke, what's interesting about business owners is they come from all walks of life, right?
Exactly right.
So, and that has been my favorite part about working with business owners, from a guy who works on a boat to a guy who does widgets to a guy who does boxes, like it doesn't matter. But and my dad had a very good ability of like speaking to them at their level. And
It's important.
I think it's very important. So I think he was able to do that, and he kind of taught that throughout all the advisors. So he never spoke down to anybody. I mean, he was always like, listen, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. So he was always focused on growing with them through the journey. And I think that's why we have good relationships with business owners, because it became personal, especially for him. He's done a great job with that.
Well, I think maybe your dad's like early to the party, because what I see, and it'd be interesting to see your comments on this, what I see from state of owner readiness survey stuff and working with our CEPAs, I think the way of the future is what your dad was doing back then, right? It's let me know what you need, I'm here. It's not what kind of financial advice do you need. It's not how much money are we investing. It's I want to become your most valued advisor. And I think the most valued advisor becomes a person that is relationship-oriented and not transaction-oriented.
100%.
And I think more so now than ever, I think we're seeing that. And then maybe that's why, you were able to bubble to the top when you looked and ranked those clients, and they were business owners, is that they were already naturally attracted to the culture of your firm, because your dad asked them the question, like, just what do you need? Not like what financial advice do you need, but like, what do you need? And that's what I think business owners look for, man.
I think they do too. I think they gravitate towards that, because I don't think a lot of people ask them those questions and get really deep on what their pain points are.
No.
And it's all different. And it's the pain points are so unique.
They are. Yeah.
You run into, I have trouble with one child. Right. Or I have, it's usually not financial. Usually it's something along the lines of like, there's a personal pain point where it's like, I really haven't been able to get through this decision process. And I think he's been really good at that.
Do you have a lot of generationally wealthy families a part of your firm?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my things, you might have heard me say this at the summit, I'll go off script a little bit, but given you kind of led me in this direction, what kind of popped in my mind is, the other thing that's on my mind when you said what's on my mind is non-financial. It's really not you, as I thought what I would think as a business owner. And it's not really financial, but the part perhaps that leans that way is, how are my kids going to be good stewards of wealth? And do you guys have that conversation because my kids are 11, 10, and 8.
Yeah.
And we live a nice lifestyle today, and I can only imagine one day when I can harvest the value of my business, what kind of life they will have. Like, they travel around in a big motor coach right now. Me and my parents, man, they packed the Mercury Villager van.
Yep.
My dad used to put a tube TV in the middle with the plugged into the cigarette lighter and a VCR because they can't get cable in the car. And he would plug. We would plug in VHS movies all the way down from Cleveland to Treasure Island, Florida. And now my kids plug into the TV and they could just watch a movie that's streaming. And I'll be just driving down the turnpike. So,
oh man.
But I always think like that. The financial part of it is on my mind. Is how are my kids? What am I doing with my kids?
Sure.
Because do you guys coach and teach that kind of stuff?
We're starting to more and more. And what you're saying, the grittiness of doing that, is almost like it is a benefit. It made it who you are today, right? And you don't want to take that away from your kids. So how do you?
True.
So say Scott, you're wildly successful, right? You achieve all your financial goals. And what's around the next corner? It's how do you do that for your kids? But how do you not spoil them too? How do you make them good stewards of the money, but also better people? And part of you wants to have them say, listen, you're not getting any money until you start a landscaping company, right? Because you got to go start a landscaping company and then come back to me. But we have one client now who's actually doing that. So they're starting like a dynasty trust. And they're saying, listen, you're going to have to petition business ideas to me in order to access the trust. Something crazy like that. But it's across their value system. It aligns with what they want to do. But no, the kids for the next generation is a major focus.
Yeah, it's a major. I would assume, right? Focus. It's like as you get into that level of wealth, to your point, I've never heard somebody say it that hit me when you said the grittiness of like that landscaping company helped you become who you are today. If you don't give those opportunities to your kids, they may not have the same path as you.
Absolutely.
And so that's at the same time you're also like, well, I like driving in the RV, right? So it's like,
I get it.
I don't want to drive in the Mercury Villager van. And so it's like this total cluster in your brain where you're like, and truly like this balance, like when our listeners who are advisors are thinking like what's on a business owner's mind, like that's what's on my mind right now.
That's it, right? Like, we got your pain points,
right?
Scott.
That
we got your pain
points. And you have not yet given me any financial advice. You just talked to me because you guys are about building a relationship. So talk to me. So one of the things, so that's a perfect, best-in-class element, if you will, of a certified exit planning advisor is relationship-oriented, not transactional. But there's also a way that you began to approach owners that you talked to me about that I thought was interesting, from like retirement to owner specialist. Can you kind of talk about that, like how you changed your approach and integrated what you learned?
Yeah, so we went through the SEPA program probably about 3 years ago, and our approach changed dramatically. So before we were like advisors to everybody. Retirees, corporate CEO, whoever needed help, we would help. We changed our mindset to we are, business owners who are pre-sale. And that was a big mindset shift, not only for our team, but also from our partners. The people we work with. So what happened was we would go to a CPA firm and say, we work with business owners who are pre-sale, and we have a process to help those business owners. We have a checklist, we have a cash flow, we have a customized process, utilizing the SEPA principles. And when something came along that fit that criteria, we were the first call.
Yeah, they just knew.
They knew. They weren't, because we weren't the advisor for everybody, but we were the best advisor for that person. So that was a huge shift. So that's, after that big loss, we've been able to come back. Like the last 2 years, we've been very, very fortunate in terms of what we've been able to work with. But that's been the shift.
Yeah, well, what I just wrote down as you were talking through stuff, what hit me was we talk a lot at EPI about changing business owner mindsets. But what I just wrote down is, should we be also talking about changing the mindset of how you're perceived by your centers of influence?
Absolutely.
So to your point, they go through, like everybody has like 3 to 5 people that they like working with. But when they got an owner, that CPA has an owner sitting in front of them, and you work with owners pre-exit or pre-sale, and you're a business owner specialist, they go, oh, you know what? Like there's all these other wealth management, financial advisory firms, but this guy actually concentrates on this stuff,
Exactly.
then they call you.
Exactly.
So it was really more of a play. It wasn't direct to owners, although I'm sure you talk to owners in a different way.
Yeah.
It was how you started talking to your centers of influence that referred you business, and that made you stand out.
Exactly. So these centers of influence would refer very specific cases to us.
Yeah.
So we're working through, without specifics, we're working through a case where it's a transition to a next generation.
Yep.
And there needs to be a buyout of some kind. So we're running the cash flow. We're going through the checklist. We're going through the discovery process.
Yep.
Basically, but they know that we're the only people that are going to really go this deep on this client at this point in their lives.
Yep.
And they've been stuck. They've been stuck for a couple of years. The principal hasn't been able to retire. He doesn't have the confidence in the buyout or the earnout. So we've been able to kind of structure all that for him to give him the confidence to say, you know what, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. The goal is to get them to the point where it says, yep, I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah, that's. I think that's just such an interesting way to come out of the SEPA program and say, look, I could go to there's a direct to owner approach that I might have, but then there's like a direct to fellow advisor approach that I need to have, where they're viewing me differently. I just think that's key. I mean, that was key for you guys.
It was helpful. I think if our next iteration would be direct to business owner, like I was talking to your team before here, and I would love to do a business owner seminar directly with business owners talking about these things. But the referral sources and the other partners have been really helpful.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So as we wind down here, I have to ask you, as like a fellow younger, I always say I feel younger, right?
Yeah.
As a younger guy in a profession that I think is wildly growing, where do you see this? So like I asked, you were at the summit, and I asked like 20 years of our profession, but hopefully guys like me and you are around for another 20 years, right? And we'll be like our dads, pioneering a new way of thinking. But what do you think is on the horizon for us as advisors to owners, and maybe even more specifically as like certified exit planning advisors? What makes you excited? Where are we heading?
That's a good question. So there was an article in the journal maybe like 2 days ago, and it was about a guy who did a carpet business. Like basically he like took carpets up in middle schools. And
seems like interesting companies,
yeah,
right?
And those are the ones
very specific.
Very specific. But those are the guys that do really well. And they were saying that the largest, most of the wealth is concentrated in business owners and the small to mid-sized business owners, and it's growing. Absolutely. So it's getting away from these traditional routes to the business owner route. So what I see, personally, in an ideal structure, we were talking, I was talking to come back to it, but I was talking to 90 about this marketplace of connectivity and everyone being able to value their businesses easily, to be able to, understand what's it worth. I see that as a major benefit,
totally.
where it's much more marketable, these businesses.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's a big piece. But the biggest takeaway for me is that I think we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in the SEPA conference, I don't feel like there's any competition because there's so many business owners that need help.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And everyone that I've talked to could be a potential partner to help somebody. It never felt competitive.
Yeah.
So I have 20 years from now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 10 times bigger than it is today.
Sure.
Just because of the access. I think you're only just starting to access business owners in the way that they need help.
That they need to be.
I think so.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's powered by like our generation, right? So I think that 43% of the market is owned by a Gen Xer right now, and they're looking for something different and new in their professional advisors.
Right.
And I think if we can nail that, the rest is like we're cruising.
You're cruising.
I think that definitely just scratching the surface, and I think it's exciting. Like when you think about the legacy that guys like you will leave on the business owner space, like you got in young, right? So it's like 20 years from now.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, my dream, Scott, would be like we're only 1 year into business ownership.
Exactly.
So we were retail advisors.
Yep.
My dad was a retail advisor for 34 years.
Right.
And last year we went independent.
Right.
So the first time we have a P&L.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if like all of a sudden you had holding companies, you had other businesses, you had the ability to acquire and sell, and you basically have real estate divisions. You see the best businesses that we've worked with.
Yeah.
They're conglomerates.
They are.
And right? And you're doing the same thing, Scott. You
Yeah.
had the different pieces.
Yeah.
But I think that's, getting really good at that process.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it.
It is. Well, man, we're out of time. Okay. Believe it or not, the time flies, right?
That's awesome.
So I appreciate you coming all the way into Cleveland, man. And for our audience, hope you love the show. Please leave comment. And our next show is August 20th. So subscribe, listen, and leave a review on all of your podcast platforms. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Scott.